Aarya had always been admired for her long, jet-black hair. Growing up in a conservative Rajasthani town, her hair was a symbol of beauty, tradition, and familial pride. Her mother used to say, "A woman's hair is her crown," as she carefully braided Aarya's waist-length hair every morning. But Aarya's feelings about her hair were far from ordinary. Since childhood, she had been captivated by the idea of cutting it all off. It started when she watched a movie where a woman had her head shaved as part of a ritual. Instead of horror or sadness, Aarya felt an inexplicable thrill. The sound of the clippers, the hair cascading to the ground, and the transformation that followed mesmerized her. Over the years, this fascination deepened into a secret obsession. Late at night, she would lock her bedroom door and watch videos of women getting dramatic haircuts or shaves. She imagined herself sitting in the chair, feeling the clippers glide across her scalp, watching her long tresses fall around her. It was a fantasy she buried deep, hidden from her family and friends, afraid of judgment. At 24, Aarya moved to Mumbai for a prestigious corporate job. The bustling city gave her freedom and anonymity. For the first time, she felt like she could live for herself without worrying about societal expectations. Her hair remained long and lustrous, and it continued to draw compliments from colleagues. Yet, every evening, as she scrolled through Instagram, she would stumble upon videos of bold transformations, women shaving their heads or cutting off their long locks. The urge to fulfill her fantasy grew stronger. One Saturday night, after watching yet another video of a woman smiling confidently as her hair was shaved away, Aarya felt an overwhelming need to experience it herself. The thought consumed her, and by the next morning, she had made up her mind. Searching online, she found a professional barber named Rajesh who provided home services. Nervous yet excited, she scheduled an appointment for that evening. At 6 p.m., the doorbell rang. Aarya's heart pounded as she opened the door to find Rajesh, a middle-aged barber with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. He carried a sleek leather kit and smiled warmly. "Good evening," he said. Aarya led him to the living room, where she had moved the furniture to make space. As he set up his chair and tools, he asked, "What are we doing today?" She hesitated, her voice shaky. "I want to shave my head." Rajesh paused, his hand stilling for a moment. "Are you sure?" "That's a big step." "I've never been more sure of anything," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. But then, as the moment drew closer, an old part of her fantasy surfaced. Her cheeks flushed as she added, "Can I ask for something specific?" Rajesh looked up, curious. "Of course." "What is it?" "I've always imagined being tied up. Like I'm being forced, but safely." "Could you do that?" Rajesh raised an eyebrow, but nodded after a moment. "If that's what you want, we can do it. I'll make sure you're comfortable." Aarya sat down on the chair, and Rajesh draped a black cape over her. He pulled out soft ropes from his kit, normally used for holding sections of hair during styling, and gently tied her wrists to the armrests. "Too tight?" he asked. "No," she whispered, her heart racing with anticipation. Rajesh stepped behind her and began brushing her hair, his fingers gliding through her thick locks. "You have beautiful hair," he murmured. Aarya shivered as his hands lingered, the moment feeling more intimate than she had expected. He picked up a pair of scissors and held a thick section of her hair. "Here we go," he said softly, and with a loud snip, the first chunk of her hair was severed. Aarya gasped as she watched the long, dark strands fall to the floor. Each snip felt surreal, a mix of vulnerability and exhilaration. Rajesh worked methodically, cutting her hair shorter and shorter until it was uneven and jagged. When the scissors were set down, Rajesh picked up a pair of clippers. The buzzing sound filled the room, sending a jolt through Aarya. "Ready?" he asked, placing his hand gently on the top of her head. "Yes," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Rajesh started at the nape of her neck, guiding the clippers upward in slow, deliberate strokes. Aarya felt the vibration against her scalp, an electric thrill that sent shivers down her spine. With each pass, more of her hair fell away, leaving behind soft stubble. The cool air on her exposed scalp heightened the experience, and Aarya couldn't help but let out a soft gasp. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" Rajesh asked, a knowing smile on his face. She bit her lip, her cheeks flushing. "I am," she admitted, her voice trembling. Rajesh continued, tilting her head gently to ensure every inch was shaved evenly. The clippers moved with precision, and the rhythmic sound filled the room. When the clippers finished their work, Rajesh switched to a straight razor. He applied warm shaving cream to her scalp, massaging it in with firm, deliberate motions. Aarya closed her eyes, savoring the sensation. Using the razor, he carefully shaved her head clean, the blade gliding smoothly over her skin. The cool, smooth surface of her scalp felt almost foreign, yet thrilling. The reveal. When Rajesh untied her wrists and removed the cape, Aarya stood up and walked to the mirror. She stared at her reflection, hardly recognizing herself. Her smooth, bald scalp gleamed under the light, and her dark eyes looked larger and more striking. She ran her hands over her head, the sensation electrifying. "It's perfect," she said softly, a smile spreading across her face. Rajesh packed up his tools, a satisfied look on his face. "You look stunning," he said. "It's not just the haircut, it's the confidence you carry now." As he left, Aarya sat by the window, feeling lighter and freer than ever before. For the first time in her life, she felt truly herself, unburdened by societal expectations. Later that night, Aarya received a message from Zara, an old friend. "I heard about a secret gathering in Mumbai where women share their heads have stories. They'd love to meet you. Interested?" Aarya smiled, her fingers hovering over the keyboard before she typed back, "Absolutely."